I never thought I'd watch my backyard go up in flames. It was just past midnight when I saw the glow through the window, that strange, pulsing orange light. I ran outside barefoot, heart racing, and there it was. My shed. My entire shed was burning. The flames were climbing fast, lighting up the sky like a warning. Smoke curled into the night air. The heat hit me in the chest like a punch. And then I saw her. Karen. She was standing across the street, arms crossed, holding a charred piece of paper, the same code violation notice she taped to my door a week ago. The edges were blackened, still smoldering. She didn't say a word, just smiled like she'd finally won. Right then, I knew. This wasn't just a fight about HOA rules anymore. This was war. Before all this mess started, life was simple. I live in a quiet little neighborhood called Willow Run, not too fancy, but peaceful. The kind of place where people nod when they pass by, maybe wave across the fence while mowing the lawn. I moved here about 4 years ago after retiring from the Navy. Built my own little routines, tended to my garden, spent weekends in my shed, fixing up old tools or working on small wood projects. The shed, that was my space. I built it myself. Solid foundation, proper permits, everything done by the book. It wasn't just a place to store things, it was a part of me. For the most part, I kept to myself. But then, last summer, everything changed. A new neighbor moved in just down the street. Karen Holloway, short blonde bob, always in pressed clothes, clipboard in one hand, phone in the other. She joined the HOA board the same week she moved in, and it wasn't long before everyone knew she took that position a little too seriously. She didn't like my private property armed and ready sign near the fence, claimed it made the neighborhood look hostile. She didn't like that I kept my shed unlocked during the day. She even once said my grass looked too wild, like that was some kind of crime. At first, I ignored it, figured she just needed something to control. But there was something in her tone, in the way she talked to people, that didn't sit right. Like she believed the HOA gave her real power, like the rest of us were just pieces in her little game. And it didn't take long before she started playing that game with me. It started with a note, folded neatly, taped to my mailbox like it was some kind of polite suggestion. Unauthorized structure. Remove within 30 days. At first I laughed. I thought maybe it was a mistake. My shed had been there for years, fully permitted. I had the paperwork. It was solid, legal, and no one had said a word until Karen showed up. I submitted an appeal, sent in the documents, even attached old photos showing the shed had been up since year 1. But then came the second notice. And this one wasn't just about the shed. Now it was the grass. Then the tool rack beside the house. Then my front lights. Too bright for the community standard. Karen wasn't just enforcing rules, she was targeting me. A week later, I found my solar lights smashed. Thought maybe it was kids. But then the camera I had by my back gate caught something worse. Karen standing just outside the fence, phone in hand, taking pictures and writing things down. It didn't stop there. A few days after that, I got a letter from the HOA's compliance officer claiming they'd received an anonymous tip that I was storing hazardous chemicals in the shed. Hazardous chemicals? All I had in there was a lawnmower, a couple of paint cans, and some old nails in a jar. But they sent someone to inspect anyway. And they brought a camera crew, probably trying to catch me off guard. Thankfully, I had nothing to hide. Still, the look on Karen's face when they didn't find a thing, that told me everything I needed to know. This wasn't about rules. This was personal. She wanted the shed gone, and me with it. But nothing prepared me for what happened next. It happened just after midnight. I'd been up late watching TV when I heard a strange pop outside, not loud, but sharp, like something cracking under pressure. I stepped onto the porch, looked toward the backyard, and saw the sky glowing orange behind the trees. I ran. My shed, my entire shed, was up in flames. The heat hit me before I even reached the fence. The wooden walls were crumbling inwards, sparks flying like angry fireflies. I just stood there, barefoot on the grass, watching years of work Memories and peace go up in smoke. My hands were shaking when I reached for my phone to call 911, but before I could dial, I noticed movement just beyond the edge of the yard. There she was. Karen, standing by the street lamp, arms crossed, holding what looked like a piece of paper, a code violation notice. The edges were singed, curling in the wind. She didn't say a word, just looked at me, smiled, then turned and walked away like she had just watched a job well done. I couldn't believe it, but I wasn't broken. Not yet. Because what Karen didn't know, what she couldn't have known, was that I'd prepared for this. Buried beneath the floorboards of that shed, inside a bolted fireproof safe, was every document I'd ever filed. Permits, emails, HOA approvals, even photos of the shed under construction, dated and time-stamped. I'd kept it all. Call it paranoia or experience, but I never trusted anyone with too much power and not enough heart. Even better? I had cameras, not just the one by the gate, 3 others, hidden, motion-triggered. And that night, they caught everything. Karen, her walk to the back of my property, the lighter fluid, the spark. She thought no one would see her, but the whole world was about to. The fire department arrived fast, but not fast enough to save the shed. By morning, all that was left was a black skeleton of wood and twisted metal. Neighbors gathered quietly, standing in small clusters on their lawns. No one said much, but I saw it in their faces. Some were shocked, others just looked away. Maybe they were used to Karen's behavior. Maybe they were too scared to speak up. But I wasn't. I uploaded the security footage that same morning. 3 angles, crystal clear. Karen, carrying a red gas can, looking over her shoulder, setting fire to the corner of the shed before casually walking off like she had just taken out the trash. The video spread faster than I imagined. Within 2 days, it was all over local Facebook groups. Then the news picked it up. HOA board member accused of arson and property dispute. I did an interview, showed the fireproof safe, the paperwork, the evidence. I wasn't out for sympathy. I wanted accountability. And I got it. The police showed up at Karen's door within a week. I watched from my porch as they escorted her out in handcuffs. Her husband stood frozen in the doorway. Her face, red, furious, not a hint of the smugness she wore the night my shed burned. But it didn't stop there. Turns out, Karen had been bullying half the neighborhood with fake violations and scare tactics. People started coming forward. One woman said Karen threatened her with fines for hanging a wind chime. Another said she was reported for unauthorized gardening. The HOA held an emergency meeting. She was removed from the board, unanimously. An investigation was launched into past complaints, finances, and procedures. And the more they looked, the more they found. It's been a few months now. The shed is gone, but I'm already rebuilding. Bigger, stronger, reinforced with steel and lined with cameras at every angle. Not just for me, but to make a point. You don't get to destroy what someone built and walk away smiling. Karen is facing charges: arson, property damage, and false reporting. She's out of the HOA, banned from holding any position of authority in the community again. Her house, still there. But quiet now. Curtains always drawn. The neighborhood's changed too. People talk more. They're no longer scared to stand up or speak out. A couple even came by to help clear out the wreckage, people I'd barely spoken to before. Funny how shared injustice brings folks together. And the HOA? It's been restructured from the ground up. New leadership, new rules, more transparency. They even sent me a written apology and an offer to cover the cost of rebuilding. I told them I'd accept the funds, but not the silence. People need to know this stuff happens, that it can happen. You know, they thought I'd give in, that I'd fold under pressure, that I'd stay quiet like so many others probably did before me. But the fire Karen set to destroy me, all it really did was light the way. So here's the truth, the real message I want you to walk away with. They can burn your shed. They can file fake violations. They can make you feel alone. But if you hold your ground with truth, with proof, and with grit, they'll never win.